When Ozzy Osbourne found a blind girl playing Paranoid, he couldn't hold back his tears. What if the Prince of Darkness walked down a lonely street and found a blind little girl playing his song Paranoid on a broken guitar? What if that small voice changed the legend forever? London's Soho district was strangely quiet that night. Rain-slick streets shimmered like dark glass under the street lamps. Most shops were closed, and the usual chaos of traffic was drowned under the gentle whisper of rain. Ozzy Osbourne walked slowly down that street with his hood up, hands tucked inside his coat pockets. He was supposed to attend an upscale charity dinner that night, but the noise, the flashing cameras, the shallow conversations, none of it felt right anymore. So he slipped out the back door. He needed air. He needed silence. He needed to feel human again. The night wrapped around him like an old friend, heavy, familiar, and comforting in a strange way. His footsteps echoed on the wet pavement. A familiar loneliness accompanied them. Fame had always been a double-edged sword, loved by millions, but still lonely in crowds. But tonight, something felt different. Something felt fated. As he walked past an alleyway near Berwick Street, he heard it. A sound, a soft, trembling guitar. Trying, breaking, struggling, yet somehow full of heart. Ozzy slowed down. His breath caught. He knew that rhythm. He knew that melody. It was Paranoid, but not the way he had heard it for 50 years. Not loud, electrifying, powerful, raw. This was fragile. This was aching. This was like someone trying to speak through broken wires and worn-out strings. Ozzy turned his head toward the alley, and there, under a flickering street, was a small girl, maybe 10 or 11. Skin pale, hair messy, wearing a faded pink jacket. A cheap, cracked acoustic guitar was in her lap, and her eyes were closed, not blinking, not moving, just still. Ozzy stepped closer. The girl didn't notice him. She swayed gently with the rhythm, her fingers moving carefully along the frets, missing some notes, hitting others perfectly by feeling alone. Her voice was quiet, barely more than a whisper, but the lyrics hit Ozzy like a knife to the heart. I tell you to enjoy life. I wish I could, but it's too late. Her voice cracked. She stopped playing. Her small hands trembled. Then she wiped tears from her cheeks. Tears she didn't think anyone could see. Ozzy took another step. You all right, love? He asked softly. The girl gasped and held her guitar tight like a shield. She didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed shut. Who's there? She whispered. Ozzy froze. Are you blind, sweetheart? The girl exhaled slowly. I can't see people. I can only hear them. She gripped the guitar. If you want the guitar, please, don't take it. It's all I have. The words stabbed Ozzy's soul. He stepped into the light so she could hear the footsteps clearly and understand he wasn't sneaking. I'm not taking anything, he said gently. I'm just listening. She relaxed slightly. Do you like music, Mr. She didn't know who he was. Ozzy Osbourne, one of the most iconic voices in rock history, stood in front of a blind little girl, and she knew nothing. No fame, no image, no legend, only the person, only the heart behind the voice. It was the purest moment Ozzy had experienced in decades. What's your name, sweetheart? He asked Lena. She said softly. Then after a pause, what's yours? Ozzy hesitated. People always recognized him. They screamed his name. They asked for selfies. They treated him like a museum exhibit. But this girl, this little blind angel, she was different. My name's Ozzy, he finally said. Lena smiled, the kind of soft, innocent smile only children can make. That's a nice name, she said. Do you want me to play for you, Mr. Ozzy? Ozzy swallowed hard. You already played something beautiful, he said. Where'd you learn Paranoid? I didn't, she replied. I just heard someone once playing it on the street. I remembered how it felt. I play by feeling, not by ears or eyes. She touched her chest. Music is like light for me. Ozzy's throat tightened. Music had saved him when he was lost. Now he watched it save a little girl who could not see the world, yet somehow saw more than most people ever would. Do you live around here? Ozzy asked. Lena shook her head. I used to live with my mum. Before she got sick. She paused. I live at the shelter now. Ozzy's chest tightened. And the guitar? He asked. It was my dad's, she whispered. He left when I was little. The strings break a lot, but I fix them with whatever I can. I want to become a musician someday. She lifted the cracked guitar slightly. I know it's silly. Ozzy's eyes burned. He knelt down in front of her so she could sense his presence. Better. "It's not silly, love," he said. "It's brave." Lena smiled shyly. Then she asked something that made Ozzy's soul shatter. "Mr. Ozzy, do you think the man who wrote that song would be proud if he heard me play it?" Ozzy inhaled sharply. He wanted to scream. He wanted to cry. He wanted to hug her and tell her everything. Tell her that man was kneeling right in front of her, heart breaking open in the cold rain. But instead he whispered, "Yes, he would be proud, more than you know." Lena gently touched the strings again. She played the intro to Paranoid, broken, trembling, imperfect, but full of soul. Ozzy felt his knees weaken. Each note was a message, a cry, a prayer. And then Lena said, "I like this song because it sounds like someone who's scared of their own mind." She touched her head gently. "I get scared too, when I can't see anything, when people yell, when I get lost." Ozzy placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You're not lost anymore," he whispered. Then Lena asked softly, "Mr. Ozzy, can you stay with me a little, just until I finish the song?" Ozzy nodded. "I'm not going anywhere." And for the next 2 minutes, the rainy alley became a cathedral, a sacred space where a blind angel played a broken guitar for the Prince of Darkness. When she finished, she sighed. I hope one day the real Ozzy hears me." He couldn't hold back anymore. A tear rolled down his cheek. "He already did," Ozzy whispered. "And he's crying." Lena gasped. She slowly raised her hand and touched Ozzy's face, feeling the tears. You're him," she whispered. "Yes, sweetheart," he said softly. "It's me." Lena covered her mouth, overwhelmed. Did I make mistakes?" she asked in terror. "I'm sorry if I ruined your song. I can't see the frets well sometimes." Ozzy shook his head fiercely. "Lena, you didn't ruin anything. You made it new. You made it beautiful." He took her tiny hands gently. "You made me hear my own song in a way I never heard before." "What do you dream of, sweetheart?" Ozzy asked. Lena hesitated. "I dream of playing on a real stage someday." She hugged the broken guitar, "where people can hear me, even if I can't see them." Ozzy smiled softly through his tears. "What if," he said slowly, "I gave you a new guitar?" Lena froze. No, Mr. Ozzy, this one is enough. This one has memories. I don't want to ask for too much." Ozzy held her shoulders gently. "You're not asking," he said. "I'm offering," she whispered. "Why?" Ozzy swallowed hard. "Because you reminded me why I started music. You reminded me of soul, heart, the reason behind everything. You gave me something tonight I can't repay." Lena's lips trembled. "Nobody ever gives me anything," she whispered. "People give to kids who can see things, kids who can run around. I'm different." Ozzy shook his head. "No, Lena, you're a light in a dark world, and the world doesn't give enough to lights like you." He stood up and pulled out his phone. "I'm getting you the best guitar in London," he said, "and a proper teacher, and a safe place to live, and whatever you need." Lena burst into tears. "No one has ever said that to me." Ozzy knelt again, voice shaking. "Well, someone is saying it now." The rain grew heavier. Lena reached out and touched Ozzy's face again, her fingers tracing the tear lines. "You're really crying," she whispered. "Yes," Ozzy said, his voice cracking, "because I wish someone had helped me when I was young like you." Lena hugged him, tiny arms, big heart. "I won't forget this," she whispered, "ever." Ozzy hugged her back tightly, as if protecting her from every bad thing she had ever endured. And in that moment, Ozzy Osbourne, the legend, the icon, the Prince of Darkness, wasn't a celebrity. He was just a man touched by a blind angel playing a broken guitar. Ozzy arranged everything that night. A new guitar, a private tutor, a wheelchair-accessible home for Lena and her recovering mother, education, music therapy, every necessity covered for years. When Lena finally received her new guitar, a beautifully crafted Taylor acoustic, she cried so hard she couldn't even speak. She touched every curve, every string, feeling its shape like reading Braille. Then she whispered, "It feels like hope." Ozzy smiled. "That's exactly what it is." She lifted her face toward his voice. "Mr. Ozzy, will you come hear me play again someday?" Ozzy took her tiny hand. "Sweetheart, I'll be there for every song." Months later, Lena played her first small show at a charity event. Crowds gathered, lights dimmed, whispers filled the room, but Lena stood confidently, guitar in hand, smiling toward the sound of applause she couldn't see. When she played Paranoid, the room went silent, and in the front row, Ozzy cried again, not because the notes were perfect, but because her heart was. Lena couldn't see the crowd rise to their feet, but she felt their applause, the vibrations, the love, the shock. Afterward, she whispered to Ozzy, "Did I do good?" Ozzy hugged her. "You did more than good, sweetheart. You changed the world tonight." Years passed. Lena grew into a sensation, a blind musician with a voice of gold and a heart full of stars. And Ozzy, he kept his promise. Every concert, every milestone, every birthday, every fear, every victory, he was there. Because sometimes a legend doesn't create a miracle. Sometimes a miracle finds the legend on a rainy street holding a broken guitar. If one rainy night could create a bond between a rock legend and a blind little girl, imagine what kindness could do in your life. Imagine how many Lenas are waiting for someone to listen. Imagine how many miracles start with a single moment of compassion. If you love Ozzy Osbourne, if this story touched your heart, if you believe kindness can change the world, subscribe to Voices of Darkness, like this video, share it with your friends, and if you truly love Ozzy Osbourne, help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Prove your love now.